Good afternoon, everyone, and how are you? Good to see you again. Welcome to Catholic Broadcasting Ministry, Capuchin TV, and to this special program, Taking Care of Your Psycho-Spiritual Well-Being. My name, once again, is Josiah Segunjobi, Reverend Father. And today we'll be looking at our wellness or paying attention a little bit to how we are reacting to situations in life. And of course, we know that we are in the era of COVID-19, and as much as we think is leaving us, the more we are still having more issues of different variants of it still coming. And you find a lot of things that have been paralyzed. Families that at the beginning we thought could be the pandemic was an opportunity for families to reunite. Things have really scattered in some families because they couldn't stand each other every day. And of course, the stress on the parents, because some of them have lost their job, the inflow of money is not coming. So the stress of taking care of their children and different things. Even in the church, there are a lot of issues that are there because of this COVID-19. At a workplace, it's the same situation. You have been used to going to work every day. Now you have to work from home. And I bet you, even for us to do a lot of things online, it is not easy. You get more stressed, tired, and burnt out sitting down on the screen teaching or doing whatever you are doing because of this situation. So it's not really been fun as we thought it's going to be. Yeah, that you are present in the home could be. But however, apart from that, there are a lot of worries. Even the vaccination came here. People don't still know exactly how to deal with a lot of fear. We don't know what it's composed of. We just too many things. And I bet you we still don't know exactly where we are going. So all this situation, apart from the pandemic itself, the factors that are linked to it, the fear factor, the health factor, the fear, emotional factor, the relational factor, all of them, we call them in psychology stressors. And when all these come around, they can actually weigh us down, which we actually call psychological. It can cause what they call psychological distress. So with me today, I have an expert here who is actually going to break down for us to know how to deal with this situation, because we are talking about dealing with this psychological distress during this COVID-19 pandemic. And here with me is Dr. Samuel Ojuade, who is the CEO of the Sarcobam Consult, if I get it correctly. He's a clinical psychologist and is specialized in suicide behavior and mood disorders. He's at the same time a lecturer at the African International University, Karen, and is a presiding pastor. He's a pastor like myself at the Refined by Fire Global Christian Ministry. They have a branch in Nigeria. Of course, the main center is Nigeria, but also have a branch here in Kenya, here in Ngongoro. So you can actually visit the church, and then you'll be hearing the psycho-spiritual aspect of our life. So welcome.
Thank you,
Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. He's been here before.
Nice seeing you again.
Yes,
thank you.
So, just to go straight to what we have to talk about today, how can we describe the effect of this pandemic and the different kind of stressors, like I mentioned, in our life? Or what do you want to tell us about this psychological distress?
Yeah, like you rightly said, when you talk about distress, it comes from the word stress. Stress has to do with the feelings and the response you have towards a particular stressor. But when that feelings become so overwhelmed and is highly stressful, then we are talking about distress. So we can't be talking about distress without talking about stress. So distress comes from the word stress.
Okay.
And though the extreme form of stress, that is distress. And then we say distress is just like a crisis situation where you are so overwhelmed with the enormity of what you consider to be crisis, and then you want an immediate answer or solution or solution to that problem now. You can't just wait. You are so overwhelmed with your mind to the point that the emotion tries to really overwhelm you, and then your emotion is pushing you to act immediately, in fact, without thinking about the solution, about the consequence of the action you want to take. That is distress. So you are so distressed to the point that you want an immediate response, solution to the problem. Just mention any situation you find yourself, and then you want an immediate coming out of that situation. That is distress. That's distress level. So it is also regarded as a crisis. It's a crisis situation as well. So that is.
And now we're in a crisis. The pandemic issue is crisis. It's a global crisis that we still don't know how to respond to it. So could you tell us how this can constitute stress for us?
Yeah, in many ways, you see, you look at the pandemic, like you said, it has created a lot of issues. Many people have lost their job, they have lost their source of livelihood.
Many.
And because of the pandemic. And then they find themselves in a situation where they want an immediate rescue, an immediate answer to the whole problem. Like you said, the whole world, this issue of COVID-19 or pandemic is like a crisis situation. It's like a distress to the world. We are looking for a way to just come out of it immediately. So it has done that, and at the same time, beside that, we have so many people who have lost their beloved one due to sequence to COVID-19. You lost your father, you lost your mom, you lost your sister. Many people are grieving. You have hardly will you see a family today without any form of traces of any bereavement in that family.
In fact, I have somebody who lost both parents to
COVID-19. So, and then you become so overwhelmed. Then your emotional mind will become activated. Okay, we have the emotional mind, then you have the rational mind. So your emotional mind becomes activated. You want to be in charge, be in control. And so that is why you see many people acting based on their emotion when they are distressed. So, and that can lead to something they do not really bargain for.
So when we look at, like now, we know we are all in this.
Everybody.
When we talk about COVID-19, we are all involved. Whether you are adult or you are a child or you are young ones, everyone, of course, when you talk about COVID, everybody knows what is COVID. Even when we have to relate with our environment, it's affecting us because you want to move around, you don't know whether to keep on using mask, you use mask, you are choked, you remove, you put on your neck. A lot of things are just happening there. So, and I know because, like I said, it's just that the normal. It has become like a new normal that we just do things. But at what point do I begin to feel that I'm distressed?
Yeah, like the way distress works. You have the prompting event. There will be an event that really prompts your distress level. Then your mind, the way you react or the interpretation, the way you see it, what you tell yourself about that prompting event will determine the kind of the emotions that will be activated. So, for example, if you look at the prompting event, let's say this COVID-19, how do you interpret COVID-19? How do you see it to yourself? Okay. So the way you see it and the consequence or the consequences of what happened or the COVID-19 around you, your interpretation, your mental understanding about it, and what you tell yourself will determine the kind of the emotions that will be activated. So that emotion that is activated, you become so overwhelmed based on that emotions. And then you are highly stressed, you are looking for a way out immediately. So, and that is where the issue of the stress or distress
because
really comes from
doctor,
now.
what I'm saying is that, okay, now I may feel that, I want to respond. Of course, I'm created to respond to events in my life, kind of a thing. And there, of course, the COVID issue is there, and we know it's there. And many of us are just trying to do as much as we can to respond to whatever is coming, whether in the family, workplace, to deal with the death, the grief, issue of grief is there. Many people are traumatized with the evil, they cannot even, a lot of things are just there. Now, for me now, okay, how do I begin? What I'm just trying to know that, how do I know that I am feeling distressed?
Okay, now, what is your understanding? That's the issue here now. How do you feel it? Your emotional response to it. Okay, you become so overwhelmed emotionally. Okay. And that's one major key point to really know that you are really distressed. Okay. Then the way you think, your thinking ability cognitively becomes so low because your rational mind is deactivated, whereas your emotional mind is activated. Okay. So you can't think straight at that time when you are distressed. You allow the emotions to take control, to take charge of yourself. Rather, you should be in control of your mind, but this time around, because you are distressed, the emotion takes control. So the emotion takes the lead.
And makes me to lose control.
You take control. Yeah. So your emotions start to dictate to you. This is what you should do. So you find the shortcut, you find the way out on your own. And that is why many people do something irrational, because their rational mind has been deactivated because of the distress level. So, but your emotion being in control of you, instead of you to be in control of yourself. So you act with impulsivity. And you do without really thinking. That's what I mean. Yeah. So you act without thinking. So you take some actions without thinking through. So, and that is why at that time, instead of taking control over the situation take control over you.
Thank you very much. And that's very powerful. So again, we are still in this, and when we come back, we'll continue from there, especially to look at are there signs and symptoms that could make me to know, and of course how to deal with it when we are in this situation of distress. Again, it's a global thing and it's general, let me put it that way, and it's affecting all of us in different ways. Like you hear him say that your perception, your interpretation of the events make you to respond the way you respond. So when we come back, we have again Dr. Samuel Ojoade here, and of course I'm here, Josipayo Segujobi, the host here. So when we come back, we deal with that. Stay tuned.
Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, hail our life and sweetness and our hope. To you do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To you do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, your eyes of mercy toward us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of your womb, Jesus, O merciful, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Amen.
To get Hail Holy Queen as your Skiza tune, send Skiza followed by code 738-10258 and send it to 811.
So welcome back, dear viewers. And then, of course, again, we've been having a little discussion about this issue of distress as a result of the recent pandemic and the crisis. It's a crisis, of course, that we are in our world today. And we are yet to actually even still fathom all that it is all about. Even with the vaccine, like I said the other time, we don't know how long this vaccine is going to work, and some don't even believe in it. Those who believe in it don't know how long it's going to stay, and a lot of things. So, plus what I said earlier, and of course you have heard from Dr. Ojuade, who is here with us, that this actually affects your response, especially when it deactivates your rational mind and your emotional mind is activated to make you to do a lot of things in the attempt of responding. Maybe, activating the FFF response in us, the flight, freeze, and what is the other one? Freeze, flight, and the fight response in us. But we want to know that I was trying to ask him the other time that, okay, if I see somebody behaving in a particular way, and or maybe in myself, again, how do I really say, okay, these are the signs and symptoms that I can see in somebody that could tell me that this person actually is distressed?
Yeah, I think one of the, since emotion has taken control, then you see some negative emotions in actions.
Okay.
In an individual who is experiencing distress.
Okay.
One of the major one is anger. When you
Getting angry unnecessarily.
When you see somebody who is unnecessarily displacing anger on you, you have to really understand where it is coming from. That, hey, this man is under distress.
Okay.
So anger is one of the symptoms that you really need to look for. Another one is this fatigue. Okay, you just feel like because you are so tired unnecessarily. So standing up to do something necessary for yourself becomes an issue. So you become so fatigued. So then we can also look at for something like an anxiety. So you see yourself sweating profusely unnecessarily. You see some traces of anxiety in you. Then fear of uncertainty, and then, like you rightly say, you see a lot of people who are really exhibiting this fear. I don't know what is going to happen to me. And it is, like we said, it is the interpretation of the event, of the prompting event around you, that will really determine the emotional arousal in you. So you have all that as well.
Yeah.
Then even depressed as well. You can as well feel depressed. You feel so depressed, so unwilling to really find pleasure in things that you used to do before, and so many others, symptoms that can really come up because of the distress level. But just look for anger, look for anxiety, look for fear. So look for depressed mood. Okay, you withdraw from social interactions. So those are the things you need to really look for whenever you get distressed.
Okay, doctor, is there a way I can help myself with this?
Yeah, that is the best way or an individual can help you to deal with distress is yourself. So you need to really help yourself in dealing with distress. And then there are many skills that you need to equip yourself with skills or not to do that. For example, let me briefly discuss stop skills.
Okay.
It is an acronym that each of the letter
Stop,
means
like S-T-O-P.
Okay. For instance, you find yourself in a distress situation, and your mind, your emotional mind is activated. And then this emotional mind will be pushing you to act irrationally, acting without really thinking. So the pressure was so much on you that you just want to come out of that situation. Just think of any situation you find yourself that you are looking for an immediate way out. So the first key that you need to really train yourself is how to stop. S stand for stop for real. Okay. In other words, stop, do not hurt. do not take any step at that time. Because when any step you take, when your emotion is in control, will be irrational. Because your irrational mind has been deactivated. So for you to take any step when you are distressed, major step when you are distressed, it is very dangerous. So learning how to stop, to freeze, to reframe yourself from taking actions, that is one skill that individual really need to really learn how to do. Then let's look about the T from the word stop. Take means that take a step back.
Stop
and take a step back. A step back is that relax. The world will not collapse because of your distress level.
Of course.
Before you experience what you are experiencing, many people have experienced the same. And that does not stop the whole world. We are talking about COVID. Many people have died because of COVID.
Another one is out, Marburg.
Another virus is already out now from
Marburg
the
virus,
West Africa. So which is already new. God knows what is going to come up with this new virus. So many things has happened in the past. Many is happening now, and then many will still happen. So the world does not stop because of your distress level. So take a step back. Take a step back. Do not just act irrationally without thinking. So that is T. Then from the word stop is that now you observe the situation, observe what comes into your mind, observe what comes out into your mind, observe the kind of the thought that is coming into you, observe people who have experienced the same thing you have experienced, observe the way they handle their own problem, observe things around you. Emotional mind, when emotion takes control over you, you don't see. Your five senses becomes deactivated. And that is why when emotion is in action, when the emotion takes control over you, it's like your cognitive is so impaired that you don't think straight. That's why many people, out of anger, when you are distressed, they say all manners of things. And then when they now come down, they have themselves, are you sure that I said what? I'm not sure if I have said that. It's because your irrational mind becomes deactivated, then the emotional mind takes control over you. And then you become so overwhelmed with emotions. So observe people, observe yourself, observe the kind of the emotion that you are really activating, that you are aroused with that kind of emotion. Observe that you are getting hungry irrationally. Observe what is really coming out of you. So you need to stop. Just stop. Then the P there, that you now need to proceed mindfully. Proceed mindfully means that you act with awareness. Mindfulness is awareness, self-awareness. So in other words, you don't do things out of yourself. You are detached from the reality. So, but when you stop, at that time, you are helping yourself to really reconnect back to the universe, because you're already disconnected because of the emotions. So you want to reconnect back to the society and to the universe around you, but you need to really relax, and you don't just talk when you are hungry. Don't just act when the emotion is in action. So you stop. That's a very powerful skill.
It's very, as you were talking, I was just thinking about it. Can it be a way of stopping us from being impulsive, or
exactly
kind of a thing?
Impulsive means that you act without thinking. Acting without thinking, that is mean that you have an impulsive behavior, impulsive action. You do some things without thinking through. But distress level will not allow you to think through, because your rational mind has been deactivated. It is the emotions. So emotion is in charge. Emotion will say, you see what is happening. So you start getting angry at anybody. Emotion can even push you to say, okay, you better go and kill yourself because of all this. So, the suicide also comes in because of this, of distress level, and because the emotion is in charge at that particular time. So that is, so you discover that the major issue is the mind.
Yeah, and that's why I always say to people that, because what you are saying is very important. Of course, God gave us emotion, right? And God also gave us the reasoning. And there's a reason why two of them are in us. And it's to balance what we do, that we're not too much on the cognitive part. We have to feel for other things, and not too much in the feeling part. We have to put reasoning into it. Then we act rationally, and being mindful of our environment, kind of a thing. So now, what do you have to tell our viewers before we get, because I know we are getting closer to the end, what do you have to tell our viewers about how to manage this? You have taught us about the technique stop, right? To stop first, to take a step back, to observe, and then to proceed mindfully. So, but what do you really have to tell our viewers that, of course, the situation is still there. We are still in the crisis, and people are still getting hit in different ways. They are still, of course, people who have lost the job. I don't know whether they are going to get the job again. For some, because we need to be hopeful and to be optimistic. Remember that when one road is closed, many more are open. So even when you lose your job, that's not the end of life. God can provide that. Or of course, there could be other means of getting other jobs to be done. And of course, apart from those who lose their loved one, of course, those who have died cannot come back. But of course, we still have to know that, like you said, what continues. Yeah. That's not the end of life. So we just have to take to know what is happening. It's not happening to you alone. It's happening to everyone. So what do you have to tell us finally about all this that we need to approach, apart from the stop thing, to what do we need to do so that we don't even get to that level of distress?
Yeah, I think one of the major issues that we also need to really address is the ability to accept the reality. You see, when you reject reality, rejecting reality does not change reality.
That's true.
So when you say, no, why me? And you kept asking questions, and so I am stressed, I'm so distressed. But this is the reality on ground. So the question you ask yourself, what can you do about the reality? So is there anything, I know this is overwhelming, but is there anything you can do about it? If there is something you can do about it, then do it. Then why worry? If there is something you can do about it, why worry?
If there's something you can do.
If there is nothing you can do about it, then why worry as well? If there is something you can do about it, why worry? If there is nothing you can do about it, then why worry? So that leads us to really understand that you learn to accept what you cannot control. And then you control what you cannot accept.
There's a prayer that comes to my mind. We said, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
I cannot change.
The courage to change the things I can.
So if you can change, if you can change the situation, go ahead and change it.
If you cannot,
then why worry? Then if you cannot change it, then accept that this is the reality. Because rejecting reality does not change the reality.
Thank you very
much. Still remains the reality.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ojuade. That's very, very powerful. I know all of you will agree with me that is very powerful. COVID-19 is real. Accept it. When you accept it, you'll be able to know what to do to deal with it. And of course, we can't do much more than the measures that they have told us to do. And if you are doing your part, be free. You don't have to run away from people. But if they say keep social distance, do. But if they say use your mask, use it correctly. They say wash your hands, wash them as often as you can. But it's not about fighting it. It's not about worrying. Because there's nothing you can do about it. Worry adds nothing to you. And like he said, whether you accept or you don't accept reality remains the reality. So let us just continue to deal with this. And again, remember what he said. Also, don't rush into action because of the way you feel. Whatever it is that you are going through, stop And you have heard about the acronyms of the STOP. You know, stop as in stop. Some will say pause. Okay? Take a step back. Observe the situation. And of course, proceed mindfully. Am I right? I'm a good student, ba?
You are very
good.
right.
So, thank you very
right.
much, everyone. Next week again, I'll be seeing you with another topic, interesting topic. And then I hope that you also will be there. And I want to say this last time that please subscribe. Subscribe if you're enjoying our program. Subscribe. But don't just subscribe alone. Also share with your families and friends, your colleagues. Share to your social friends on social media, on the Facebook, on Twitter, on the WhatsApp, and any other means. Please do share this program, and of course, you will be blessed as you do so. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you, Dr. Ari,
thank you
for coming to speak to us about distress. And I pray that the Lord also will release this, will remove the stress out of the distress so that we become useful, right?
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.